Good morning. We're here with Alison Gleeson, our SVP of Americas, and Jordi Botifoll, our SVP of Latin America. Welcome, Alison and Jordi.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you for being here. We're going to start about the customers. You travel through Americas a lot, and you listen to a lot of customers about what's happening, what are the trends, what are they concerned about. Why don't you share with us a little bit about what you're hearing?
Well, as I travel throughout the Americas and actually across the globe, in this world of disrupt or be disrupted, our customers are really concerned about making sure that they are innovating. And it's a remarkable process that together with our partners and our customers that we're in the middle of right now. So much of it is about establishing a platform, a digital platform for innovation, a platform that allows them to test, a platform that allows them to innovate, not for the sake of innovation, but in this world of IoT, in this world of hyper-connected. That is really what our customers are asking us to help them with. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're a retailer trying to get customers into your store, or whether you're a financial institution trying to get customers into your branch bank. It's the same issue. It's staying close to your customers, keeping that loyalty, and trying to make sure that your customers have an amazing experience. But it isn't just also about the customers, it's about the employees as well. It's really important in order for our customers to compete that they create a workplace, and a workplace where employees want to come to, and a workplace that cultivates innovation.
And Alison, as you go through many countries through Americas, you go to Canada, Latin American countries, the US, is that basically the same across? Do you see any differences? So when you look at different verticals, is that similar, or there are differences that you can point out?
I think there's many differences. So for example, in the US, brick and mortar, the retailers are under siege. Customers are ordering online. As a matter of fact, just flying down here, there was an interesting article that was published around Macy's and Nordstrom's potentially predicting even worse sales during their holiday season, which is catastrophic. So the pressure on brick and mortar, the pressure on retailers in the US is pretty intense. I don't necessarily see that as much here in LATAM, but it's coming. And I think about the same thing around cloud. You know, LATAM was not necessarily as early of an adopter in cloud as we saw in the US and perhaps some of the countries in Europe. But at the end of the day, I think the really beauty about being in a position that we're in, working for a global company, is we're able to look at some of the trends, not just the technology trends, but the industry trends, and get kind of a little sneak peek and be able to position ourselves as a company and as an ecosystem as to how we can better help our customers. Because inevitably, because we are such a global world, it's very rare that I see something that is just unique to one country. More often than not, you'll see this trend go across the globe.
Okay, so tell me a little bit then about what Cisco is doing. How is Cisco addressing these opportunities and concerns and trends that are happening in the marketplace?
Yeah, you know, last week I had the opportunity to speak at the International Cyber Summit hosted by the governor of the state of Michigan. And one of the things that is so important right now in this multi-cloud IoT world where everything is hyper-connected is in fact security. And you know, Cisco, I don't think we necessarily did the greatest job branding ourselves as a security company we are. And when you look in security, the perimeter is changing, isn't it? The perimeter used to be just about on-prem in the network. And now 96% of enterprises are using the cloud. As a matter of fact, over 80-some% of them are using more than one cloud, almost 5 clouds. So when you look at the perimeter from the network, it's now the network, it's the cloud, and it's identity, the endpoints. And if you really think about it, only Cisco can integrate and bring that whole security together from an enterprise perspective. And that's really what our customers are looking for. And it's only going to get more crazy, right? As more and more devices come online. I mean, the latest stat is over 1 million devices will be coming online every hour just in about 2 years. That's pretty staggering. And it even gets more crazy. If you think about autonomous vehicles, 10 million autonomous vehicles being on the road in just a little over 2 years. The technology is crazy. I mean, technology is enabling a pace of change like we have never seen it before. And how we are best helping our customers is really creating that digital framework, that digital platform.
So, since you touched about that digital transformation, the network is core to that. And Cisco just launched the evolution of the network. Why don't you tell us more about the network intuitive?
So the network intuitive, I like to say that the network intuitive is both an evolution and a revolution at the same time. When you think about it from a revolutionary perspective, the ability for us to segment traffic so that data has, in essence, its swim lanes and where it should be, where it needs to be, is vitally important in this world of IoT. And I think that that isn't enough, but the ability to provide enterprise policy, security policy on top of that is really kind of the revolution. The evolution of it is we're not forcing our customers to all upgrade their technology in order to take part of the network intuitive. As a matter of fact, our 3000s, our 4000s, much of our legacy technology is able to use that software to their benefit. Now, the revolutionary part is what you can do with some of our new hardware that we're introducing, like our Catalyst 9K, where it isn't just about the ability to segment your traffic and provide enterprise policy, but also the level of encryption. If you think about the fact that over 70% of breaches are all done through encrypted traffic, the ability for us to have that type of threat detection in an encrypted network is game-changing. It is unique, truly unique to Cisco. And we're just beginning to tap into that. So the network intuitive is probably the biggest innovation that I've seen, and Jordi, that you've seen in enterprise networking in quite some time.
So Alison talked about the network and security. So Jordi, some people say that we're living in the fourth industrial revolution. Why don't you tell us about how those two things, the network and security, are part of that and our digital transformation and what we talk about at Cisco?
Some of the comments that Alison brought about innovation, market transitions, technology disruption, they are key elements for the digital transformation in moving Latin America from commodity-based economy to really knowledge-based economy, which is the digital foundation. So she mentioned about the intuitive network as a common denominator to all those kind of technology disruption and market transition. For example, the multi-cloud, the different multi-cloud environment, the end-to-end security. She mentioned about the 50 billion connected devices in 3 years and the need to secure those elements. Keep in mind that one single device of those is a single entry point to the network. So you must to ensure that security, assuming that they will be processed into the edge as well. So the complexity is large, and for that reason, we need to manage that complexity from different angles. The intuitive network means more, I would say, faster time to market for anything, for creates to provision services, to update infrastructure, to really to make changes, to update applications, to create different model businesses. Faster time to market means more competitiveness, and that's connected with the digital economy.
So let's now zoom in and let's talk about LATAM and the customers in LATAM. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing, what customers are doing to do that transformation?
We started 5 years ago to talk about digital economy. We started with some specific initial initiative in S+CC. We built up the 3 pillars framework: government efficiencies, national competitiveness, connected industry, smart cities, and social inclusion, education, healthcare. Alison has been engaged with us for a few years and working and supporting and helping us in specific areas. For example, education. We have consolidated 1.6 million graduates into this Network Academy program. That is feeding substantially the innovation into our ecosystem here. And we also put a lot of effort in security. We were together in the Olympic, for example, network sponsorship we have in Rio de Janeiro, a massive network that we developed together with the ecosystem, 30 million attacks. We mitigated all of them. And that was a very intense network. We use all the security elements, like for example, Cloud Lock, we use Umbrella, we also use all the specific structure. We manage clouds into that network, and we support it for what's just meant and a massive interaction, and we mitigated all the issues. We have a bunch of examples around Latin America: Mexico Conectado, Ceibal, in Uruguay, SENA, in Colombia, all the education sector in Argentina, Chile with telemedicine, healthcare. We have been working together on a specific area. So my point is that digital economy is a reality in Latin America. Now, having said that, we use later, US was ahead on us in some of the technology disruption and market models like multi-cloud, for example. Now we are moving fast, but that's the beauty of interaction and collaboration all across.
I would say one more thing. When we think about Network Academy, I was reading earlier that in the year 2019, there'll be 450,000 IT job shortage here in LATAM. And isn't it a coincidence that we are training 450,000 students in LATAM on IT? And when you think of the Network Academy, I think it's really important that everybody understands that it's no longer just about the network. And if you think about how Network Academy has evolved, the Network Academy is so much more than just the network. The Network Academy, we're teaching how to code. We're teaching about data analytics, how to extract the data from the network. And most importantly, we've integrated cybersecurity into the Network Academy. So in this world of cybersecurity, where there'll be over 3.2 million unfilled jobs at the current trajectory by the year 2021. And here in LATAM, 450,000 jobs shortage in just 1.5 years. It makes me feel really good that Cisco is doing everything we can to change that trajectory. And it makes me feel even better that LATAM is the global leader at Cisco around Network Academy. That pillar Jordi talked about of social inclusion, I'd like to think of it around digital skills, because that is what we do, and that is what we should be doing. You know, there isn't a digital economy that is sustainable in today's day and age if you don't take your people with you. And Cisco has figured that out. And I truly believe that is unique to Cisco and all of our ecosystem partners.
And keep in mind, Javier, that as Alison was saying about the massive education sector here, the youth is the main asset that Latin America has, much more than European countries and developed countries. That's the youth. So we need to provide them specific tools to foster the creativity and the innovation. We have in Latin 1,500 institutions, network academies. Some of them are universities, professional centers, private centers, so they complement their offering with our program, which enrich much more the overall vocational offering. Most of the 1.6 million graduated people, they change their job for a better job, or they move on, they find a new job. And we talk about qualified jobs. What she said, key element for foster the information society all across Latin America and the digital economy.
So we can do this alone. We need an ecosystem to do this. What is the role of the partner? We just did the partner summit last week. What were the key things that you heard about, and what is the role of the partner on making all this happen?
I mean, we cannot do it without the partners. You know, Jordi and I met at the Partner Summit just last week, where we had tens of thousands of our partners together. And so the obvious is that we cannot scale without our partner ecosystem. But it goes way beyond scaling. We cannot innovate without our partner ecosystem. And our ecosystem is changing and it's expanding. From our most traditional partners to some of our new ecosystem partners. One of them we just announced last week with Google and our announcement with Google Cloud. But the ability for Cisco, together with our partners, to go through our transformation, because we're all in the middle of this transformation. Our customers, our partners, and certainly Cisco. And our ability to lead together is huge. And what we did last week was really announce a framework for our partner community so that just like we were just talking about with the Network Academy, moving the skills, developing our skills, co-innovating, co-creating, being able to do more, because it isn't just about extracting the data, but what does it mean, right? How do you take that data and how do you bring it to a good use with your customers? And so you've seen, just like our Network Academy program, you've seen our partner programs evolve as well. And we're challenging some partners to do things that they've never done before, while other partners are challenging Cisco to go where we've never gone before. And I think truly that's what makes our ecosystem work. It's what's always made our ecosystem work. Our partners tell us where we need to be, what we need to do, how together we can compete more effectively, and we change. And I think that's one of the things that we do really, really well together, is we listen. We listen to each other and we adopt. And last week at the summit, we gave some great examples across the partner community of things we've tried, because everything we try isn't gonna always work. But it's okay to recognize that it isn't working and you're not married to one single idea. You iterate, right? And you grow and you change. So I'm really excited. I mean, 1 year from now, I know we're gonna be sitting in a completely different place relative to this digital economy. You know, I was talking to, was sitting in a meeting with Jim Hackett, the CEO of Ford, and he said something to me, because you can only imagine the pressure that an automotive is under right now. I mean, I mentioned the autonomous vehicle stat earlier, the innovation, not just around autonomous vehicles, but the legislation around that, and the challenges with security, and everything around that ecosystem. And he said, and I was really, really surprised he said this, but it hit home. He said, anybody who tells you that they know what their industry is going to be doing 1 year from now truly doesn't get it. And what he meant by that is technology is enabling a pace of change that we've never seen. And there are disruptors, there's new players coming into every single industry with ideas that people haven't thought about. And I look at that and I think, you know, that is exactly what's going on in our ecosystem. That is what our partners are doing for us, and that's what we're doing for them.
We have in Latin America 5,000 partners, and they are key for the two-digit growth that we have in some of the technologies that we mentioned before, and especially in all the digitization process. They are fully engaged in that. They create a lot of qualified jobs that we need in the digital economy. And for example, they provided extremely value into all the multi-cloud management, in all the security associated to the cloud management, and all the collaboration layers on top of the multi-cloud environments. Platforms like, for example, Clicker, CloudLock, Umbrella, they are fundamental in adding value to integrate and offer the customers together with us on top of the public clouds and the private cloud, those that interface that will help to the customer better customer experience, employee experience, and especially more important, business outcome. So they are fundamental for the development of the digital economy. And I tell you one thing, it works because the number of the partners and the revenue mix that they are developing is more and more recurring revenue, software, and specific top added value platforms that I mentioned before.
So Jordi, we have talked about a lot of the trends that are happening in the ecosystem. So many people are probably wondering, so what are the priorities in LATAM? What is Cisco's strategy to capitalize on all of this? So why don't you share with us kind of how do you summarize Cisco's strategy in Latin America?
Well, we are very committed to transform the entire economy in LATAM from commodity base and the high dependency on some commodity transactions to truly and fully knowledge-based economy. For that reason, we put in place a plan together, Alison and I, we developed a specific country digitization acceleration with most of the countries we have inside, touching government, touching all the industry, including the connected industry, all the market segments, including the smart city as a key component. We touch also the social inclusion that we mentioned before. We use our ecosystem, we leverage our ecosystem to get footprint in all those market segments together with the customers and to multiply with their expanded sales force those elements all across. Now we have a specific strategy per market segment, but at the end we need to find also multiplexers. The other point is we are creating funding platforms to help the governments to move forward. And we use a massively Cisco capital and external funding models to help them to accelerate that transformation. Today I was in the press roundtable and they were asking to me, how can we accelerate more all this? The way we accelerate more this, in addition to educate the market in moving in that direction, is to get additional funding to help governments to move that faster because everybody's aware now. Everybody recognizes the need. Everybody associates clearly the GDP growth to the ability to digitize the entire geography. There are countries that move faster than others. We just need to make sure we catalyze those processes, and we are fully embedded on those.
Well, thank you, Jordi. Thank you, Alison. I would like to ask you if you have some departing comments for our audience.
Yes, LATAM has been highly supported by US and Alison management and leadership. This is important because LATAM needs external support regarding this. And in the way we work, very well integrated to the whole Americas has been a clear advantage. And I saw personally that advantage from the beginning. Before, as I've been in a more isolated geography and rather being more integrated, again, there are many things we can exchange. That's the social inclusion is not only related to one inside the country, it's also a broader concept where you include other elements. There, multi-cloud environment has been faster developments in the US, for example. We are copied that in some areas like commercial market segment. There's one example. And we are maximizing and using our partner ecosystem to replicate best practices. Replication is a key subject, and that's the reason why the way we work together is fundamental.
Yeah, I would just say, as Jordi said, it is all about a partnership. It's about leveraging and learning from each other. There is innovation going on everywhere. If you really think about LATAM is one of the early adopters around digitization, whether it's through smart cities, whether it's through some of the great work we've done here across energy, utilities, smart grid. You were a leading indicator and developer in really pushing the boundaries with developers and opening up our APIs and really making our solutions have true business impact. Just a few minutes ago, I was meeting with one of the partners, and we were talking about a project that we had just completed in Argentina, a project where we're bringing in the Network Academy and we're connecting all of the schools in the country of Argentina. And he talked about his project And I think it summed it up beautifully. He said, it is technology with spirit. And I always talk about when I come back from Latin America, you know, in Latam, it's electric. It just is. You know, the vibe is very different. Everybody's really positive. Everybody works together. And so I always say that it's technology solutions with a heart, because you just feel that here. Everybody wants to work together for the right thing.
So you notice her passion, right, for Latin? 50% of her blood is Italian, so that's one of the reasons why she's connected with.
That's a good note to end with.
Yeah, so have a great
Technology with a heart.
Technology with a heart.
Yeah, the Latin heart, the Latin flavor. So thank you so much, Alison.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank
Jordi.
you.
I invite you to stay tuned and stay with us at Cisco Live.